Hello students, I am Amrit Beer. Welcome to your digital classroom. For class 12th English, we took up the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum and the poet Stephen Spender. I am sure you have gone through the explanation now and you know quite a few things about the poem and you have understood that, right? So, Stephen Spender, you can see here on your screens a few of the biographical details about the poet, a few of the books that he had written. He, apart from being a poet, he was also a novelist and essayist, a British writer. So, his major works include The God Who Failed, Trial of Judge, The Temple, The Backward Son. Now, let's talk about the poem that is the theme of the poem. So now basically let's when we see have a look at the source of the poem. An elementary school classroom in a slum. This is a perfect social satire taken from the book The God That Failed. So it was first published in the year 1949. Now let's have a look at the themes of the poem. The first theme, paradox of education. Stephen Spender he exposes the inappropriateness of a school in a slum where the children live in filthy environment where they do not get food to assuage the fire of hunger to satisfy their fire of hunger, where they suffer from malnutrition, where their children's life is at stake, where life is like of a savage animal, a wild animal. Education seems to have proved futile and all other adversities simultaneously. Right? So this is why basically paradox of education mean this is not something which is suitable for them. This is as opposed to their condition, to the state in which they are living, right? So the second theme, that is poverty and a filthy life. Now in this poem Stephen Spender he shows you how socially, economically and politically deprived children become a symbol of inequality. These children they suffer from the pang of poverty, their innocuous children are malnourished, malnutrition, same thing basically, sick and devoid of childlike tenets. So they don't have any qualities in their life which associates them to their state of being a child. The words like fog, filthy emanate that poverty along with the filthy atmosphere is their ultimate fate. Then the third, that is the picture of inequality. Now, according to this aspect, the picture of inequality, since time immemorial, inequality is a common tenet in society. But here, Stephen Spender, he has reflected inequality in a distinct way, as if the deprived, exploited ones, they are living in a different world, a world devoid of peace, solace, optimism, and bright future. So here lies fog, slag heap. These are the words that are used in the poem basically, and it is similar to doom. That is their bad fate for them, you can say. There is no reference of the slums in the maps. The maps are meant for the rich. The poet here sarcastically exposes the dirty side of our society. Then next we have a desire for freedom. Stephen Spender in the last stanza desires for a better world for the slum children with all the optimism. He gives a call to the governors, doctors, teachers to impart their duty as a sensible, responsible citizen. Whatever puts obstacles in their way to their complete freedom must be broken, and they should be given the atmosphere to merge with the mainstream of the society. They must be taken out from the filthy slum and must be allowed to behold the clear sky, clear blue sky, fresh sea, beaches, and the green field. They should be given the opportunity to learn and be wise. They must have the freedom of expression, which will lead them towards complete freedom. So these are the basically the themes of the poem. Just have a casual look at the structure of the poem. It is of 32 lines divided into 4 equal stanzas of 8 lines. The poem it does not have any particular rhyme scheme and is written in free verse. So we find extensive use of alliteration, personification, inversion, enjambment, symbolism, and imagery. We'll be discussing these poetic devices in detail after this content. See on your screens, you can have a look at the figures of speech, that is the poetic devices that have been used in this poem, an elementary school classroom in a slum. First phrase is, the phrases here are given in bold, you can see here. Far, far, the figure of speech, it is repetition. Then I'll quickly just read it for you. Then it is also alliteration. Then the second phrase, gusty waves, that is personification. Then, like rootless weeds, it's a simile. The paper seeming boy, it is a metaphor. And my question for you today will be, just ponder over the difference between simile and metaphor. I am pretty sure you have read these poetic devices in your junior classes. I want you to tell me the difference between simile and metaphor. You can comment below the video. So next is the paper seeming boy, that is a metaphor, with rat's eyes, again a metaphor. Cloudless at dawn, that is an antithesis. Antithesis means when you are giving an opposing idea in the same phrase or statement. Then again an antithesis, avoiding the world its world. This is again a figure of speech as antithesis, just as the cloudless and dawn that were used there. Similarly, this is also an antithesis. Then next is belled flurry travelers valley. The figure of speech is climax, as the words are written in the ascending order. Then a narrow street, again a metaphor. Then we have climax. Then again, surely Shakespeare, again a symbol of an example of alliteration. Then climax. Then from fog to endless night, that is again alliteration and antithesis, because fog and endless night, they are two opposing ideas. Then like bottle bits of stone, simile, as big as doom, again a simile. Anticlimax is unless governor, inspector, visitor, because they are described in the descending order, that is descending order of hierarchy. This map becomes their window and these windows. This is a repetition where window has been, the word window has been repeated to emphasize the statement. Their lives like catacombs, again a simile. Break oh break, a repetition. Language is the sun, metaphor. Their tongues ran naked, a symbol of personification. So single minded, again an alliteration. Personification, perhaps the earth can teach us. And last but not the least, an antithesis, and when everything seems dead, be alive. So this is just a look at the poetic devices that have been used in this poem. Now, again, I'll repeat. So this was basically why I took up this analysis regarding the poet, the themes, usage of poetic devices after the poem. We could have learnt about the poet before the explanation as well. We could have known the theme, we could have discussed these side by side. The point is, I took it as an after analysis, which means this poem was a bit complex for you, since maybe we have long sentences, the long lines of the poem, maybe that is one factor which adds to the complexity of this poem. And since it is prosaic, it's not very poetic, it does not have a rhyme scheme. So my idea of taking these things after the explanation is done is to provide a deeper analysis into the poem, which included knowing about the poet also, discussing in brief the different kinds of themes that are brought out by the poet through the different stanzas of the poem, and of course an analysis of the language used here. So now again, which I told you in the last video as well, you'll be given details about the video assignments. So now the point is, basically the idea behind these video assignments will be that you will be much more confident, and instead of simply writing down, copying the questions and answers, this will broaden the horizons of your mind. This will give you much more confidence of expression. You will feel much more, you can say, confident after this. So this will help you too much in your expression, in your understanding of the chapter. So this will help you in these ways. Details, of course, you will know later on. So thank you. Keep learning. Stay safe. Take care.